I'm very unsure of myself most of the time, not certain if I'm saying the right things, if I am acting the right way, if I'm even supposed to be here. I'm very unsure.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. So, I am back and I'm introducing the new series, Daily Bread. I'm really excited about this. So, I'm starting this new series and it kind of reminds me of devotional, but it's not a devotional. It's just, I wanted to do something that would be kind of cute. And I came up with Daily Bread because it kind of reminds me of devotionals. So, I know, and it's Friday. Hopefully it's warm where y'all are because it feels good. I know I got me a little sweatshirt on, but sometimes when I have these conversations, I just like to get a little, comfortable. I like to feel cozy um when I have these conversations because I don't know, it just makes me feel good. But it do look nice outside. It do. The weather is looking beautiful. I'm about to get out there and enjoy the rest of my day. Thank you. That is so sweet. So let's get into the first episode of Daily Bread. Introduction. We're going to be talking about why you need to stop running from leadership. It is important. Stop running from leadership. It's keeping you from success. You running from leadership is limiting yourself and it could be keeping you from your success. It could also be keeping you from a spiritual union. Okay, that's huge. That can be love, that could be platonic. It could also be a business partnership. Some of you are keeping yourself from being in collaborations with other people because you are running from leadership. And the type of connections I'm getting from this is like spiritual connections that could help you elevate to a new level of success, or it can help you meet the right people and put you in the right room, in the right spaces so that you can get that success that you're looking for. But it will be divinely guided and it will be in full alignment with where you're supposed to be going. But if you refuse to step up and step into the leadership, you're keeping yourself from making those connections, and that's huge. Some of you are afraid to step into leadership because you're afraid to make certain choices and decisions. Okay. Or maybe it's you're afraid to make certain movements, whether that's forward movements or separating yourself away from certain people. It could be leaving certain places as well. Like you're afraid to make that move and it's keeping you from stepping into leadership, but it's also keeping you away from your success, which could also be keeping you away from your happiness. All right. This leadership is a calling that not everybody gets, especially in today's world where everyone is a follower to some degree, you know? And if you're more in being a follower and less in being a leader, when you are capable, and that's the thing, is like not everyone is capable of truly leading others because leadership is all about these things. Let me pull them up here for a sec. Leadership, not everyone has these qualities, okay? And listen, no shade. I'm gonna say it though, because it need to be said. Some people be thinking they leaders, but they really not. Okay, so we're gonna get into what it truly means to be leaders. First of all, to be a leader, you need to have positive energy. You have to have positive energy. You have to have a positive outlook on life, like you do. You have to have some type of optimism to get the people you're leading, to get them riled up, to get them thinking more positively in order to follow your lead. Otherwise, what's the point? What's the purpose if you don't have a good attitude, you know? So keep that in mind. Some people don't have good leadership skills simply because they don't have a positive energy. They don't have a positive outlook on life. They're just very negative. So make sure that when you step into this leadership role, that you bring that, you know what I mean? Like you bring that positive energy. You bring that ray of sunshine to people's lives. It gives people hope and it will get people to follow you. But negativity is just not, that's just not the move. Also, make sure that you are making it a point that even though when you're a quote unquote leader, that you're making it a point to see others, okay? That not only do you see others, but you see the value in those around you. You look at leadership as teamwork and not, oh, I'm in charge and you're supposed to do what I say. It's That's not good leadership skills, okay? So understand that when you are a leader, you truly value everyone on your team, okay? Also, make your vision very clear. You have to, in order for you to make your vision very clear, you have to have a clear vision on the future. So I don't know what your vision is, but you have to get other people to be able to see it. Okay, not through force. A positive attitude can help you, but also you need to have a clear vision for yourself. Like sometimes we're afraid to step into leadership because we don't have that clear vision for ourselves. I know that was one thing that kept me from really wanting to get into leadership. And the reason why was because I didn't have a clear vision for myself. But the reason why I did not have a clear vision for myself was because I was in my comfort zone and I was too busy allowing others to lead me instead of me trusting myself and leading myself. So my vision was confused. My vision was confusion in my mind. And it was because, well, I was in my comfort zone. And I'm going to get into why I was in my comfort zone. And the reason I was in my comfort zone was because, well, I was afraid to really step up to the plate. I didn't want to take on the responsibility because I felt like, oh, I got to take on, if I have to step up to this leadership role, that means I have to take on the responsibility of others, myself, my failures, my mistakes. Like I just didn't want to do all of that. So I gave up my gift of being able to lead others, to be led. And to be honest, it just created confusion and I did not have a clear vision. And that just made things even more complicated for me. Okay. Also be a good listener. You have to be, because not people always wonder like, how am I a good listener? The number one reason I'm a good listener is because first of all, I see inspiration through others. Like, I'm just not the inspirational person and everyone just needs to listen to me. No, like, actually, when I listen to other people, that gives me inspiration. That gives me motivation. When I hear feedback, whether it's constructive or it's praise, like that inspires me. It may even spark a thought, an idea, um, creativity. Like, it may spark something in me that could help me in some type of way, or it can help me better lead those that are following me. Like it's just important that you are a good listener when you're a leader as well. You don't want to talk to people and then the people you're talking to, I'm gonna use this as an example. This listen, I'm not being messy, but I be seeing this in the social media streets. I be noticing how some content creators that are trying to lead their followers, right? They talk to them as if they're not on their level, or they talk to them as if they are like they'll like very negatively, as if as if they're not amazing themselves. Like, I'm amazing, but you're not. You know what I mean? But then it's like, or they'll talk like their rhetoric speaks for a group of people that are not their followers. So it's like you're talking to your followers very negatively, and these are the people that are leading behind you. So you would have to assume that if they're leading behind you, that they would be more in alignment with your thought process and not the thought processes of the people that you're referring to. So what I mean by that is whenever I'm like seeing ignorance in my comment section on my other main channel, I know it's not my core audience. Like I know it's not y'all. I know it's not. I know it's like people that are coming from somebody else's channel, or they just saw my video pop up in their news feed. They visiting for the first time. So like I would never be like, "Oh, like why y'all acting like," I would never talk to y'all like that, cuz I'm like, "I know that ain't y'all. I know it's like other people that are like kind of falling in because of the algorithm. So I would never like talk to y'all like that. But how do I know that? I listen to y'all. Like I actually listen to y'all. I read y'all's comments. I know how you think. So because I know how you think and I read your comments and things like that, I know it's not it's not my core audience. So I be seeing that a lot. So be a good listener. Some of you, I've even talked to you in person. I've talked to you through mentorship. I've talked to you through Discord. I've talked to you through Patreon. I've talked to you through, did I already say mentoring? But I've had enough conversations with my audience to know that that's not y'all. Okay. Some of you, I even did like a call-in shows and stuff like that. So it's like, I can already tell. I when someone leaves a comment, I know who's who and who's not, and it's because I listen to you. I'm very big on that. Also, communicate effectively. Don't always make assumptions. You know, like sometimes it's okay to ask questions to get a clear understanding. Because one thing that I also noticed too is that a lot of drama or just a lot of negativity that's kind of brought on in this space or just any space of leadership, because this could happen at your work, at your job, and you're in this leadership role, you're in this management role, that if you don't communicate effectively directly is huge as well. Then people are just going to create these feelings and create assumptions and not really know or truly understand where you may be coming from. So make sure that you are communicating effectively. Make sure you're reminding people. Make sure that you are also keeping in mind that some people will not understand. And so you may have to explain and maybe even do it from a transparent place. Because one thing I noticed about leadership too is that when you do things from a transparent place, people are more receptive to listening to you. People are more receptive to hearing you out. Not only that, like when you do it from a transparent place, people respect it too because they're like, oh, okay, like I see where this person is coming from because she went through something similar or he went through something similar. So they're going to be more receptive to hearing you when you communicate to them. And it makes the overall communication more effective than if you have like this superiority complex where it's like, well, I ain't never been through what you've been through. But, when you take that approach, it's like people are just not going to hear you, which means your communication is not going to be as effective as it could be, because sometimes you could really touch people from a real place if you were to just be more transparent. Transparency creates compassion. And so that's how you really gain the respect of others, because if you're transparent and it's coming from a place of compassion, which most transparency is, especially when it's shared, then that means people are going to respect you and people are really going to want to hear you out. Because again, like communication is not always about did you communicate? Sometimes it's about did you communicate in a way that would want people to listen to you? And if you're not transparent, if you don't have like a level of compassion, people are not going to want to listen to you at all. Like they're just going to be like, you are talking down to me and I don't want to listen to that. So it is what it is. Also, you have to be a trustworthy person. That is huge. Integrity will garner respect. I'm so big on that. A lot of people don't understand that when it comes to my platforms, the reason why I don't be spamming y'all with ads and sponsorships and things like that is because when I'm ready to promote something, when I'm ready to sell something, I want you to trust that I'm not just selling you something just for the hell of it. Like I protect my audience, I protect my followers. I'm not going to just subject you to a scam. And then also, sometimes when it comes to this aspect of leadership, like put yourself in their shoes. That will help you a lot. Put yourself in their shoes. Put yourself exactly where you used to be when you were where they are in life, et cetera, et cetera. And that will just help you. And it will also, back to transparency, show a level of humility and compassion. And that's going to get people to really trust you when it comes to your leadership. Okay. Also, be passionate. I mean, if you're going to lead, do it in a way that where you're really passionate about something. And I believe that's where purpose comes in. Typically, purpose and passion, they kind of go hand in hand. So if you are passionate about this thing, then you're going to have purpose in it. But then if you have purpose in it, then that means you're going to have passion in it. And it's just going to be easy for you to maneuver through this whole leadership thing that maybe you've been running from. So make sure whatever it is that you're truly passionate about it, because It's just gonna it's gonna be easier for you to really lead. Okay. Let me see. I got some questions. Do I have questions? Can we be leaders within our friend group, not necessarily to follow or coworker? I mean, when it comes to friendships, I'm not really big on leading in friendships. I may find myself in that role naturally just because of me being an inspiration. But no, I don't like bossing my friends around. I like them doing them. Like I like them being themselves. I like them being authentic to themselves and things like that. I don't like telling them what to do, running them and things like that. Honestly, because I'm like this, my friends come to me. So sometimes that may put me in the leadership role, but that's not actively what I was trying to be. Like they'll come to me and ask me questions. And so that'll kind of put me in that leadership role, but I'm not putting myself in that leadership role by telling them what to do. They're grown. That's huge. But they do come to me for guidance. They do come to me for advice and things like that. But I never go to them about their life or about anything really that they got going on unless I feel like it's harmful to them in some type of way or something like that. That's the only time I would intervene with something that they got going on. But no, I'm strictly talking about leadership in other areas of your life. And this also includes family too, because that's a really good question. Because even with my family, I don't be trying to tell them what to do, but they do come to me a lot of times for advice. I tend to be the voice of reason in my family a lot. Like if one family member has an issue with another family member and they want to know my thoughts and my opinions on it, then they come to me and we have a talk about it, and then they decide from there. But I never go to them and tell them like, you know you wrong, right? I let them come to me. And because I operate like this, people find me to be more trustworthy because I'm not always inserting myself, because I don't feel like you should always insert yourself in certain situations. I don't feel like you should always insert yourself with an opinion. Like people just come to me, and I believe it's just because they respect my voice, they respect my thoughts, they respect my opinions. But I'm not the type of person um that just inserts myself. It may look like that because of my other YouTube channel, but in real life, absolutely not. Like, girl, I don't think people understand. I be minding my damn business. If it don't got nothing to do with me, I be minding my business. Okay. I really could care less. I do have opinions because I'm an opinionated person, but I'm not always voicing them in every situation. I'm not voicing them in every room that I step in. I'm not voicing them in every relationship that I have. Like I feel like that's overstepping boundaries. I have boundaries for myself when it comes to my opinions, and they don't always need to be voiced, discussed in every room or every situation that I step in. Um, let's see. And what happens if you're not mentally strong for those roles? Ooh, I need more information on that. When you mean not mentally strong, we're going to be getting into some things that could keep you from not being mentally strong. So let me cook a little bit. Let me cook a little bit, okay? Because that's actually a really good question. Hold that thought. Let's get through this list. So next is practice humility and empathy. I'm going to talk about empathy, but if when you're a leader, you have to be able to see both sides, which will mean that you have to be empathetic. You cannot step into a leadership role if you're not able to see both sides. You have to be empathic. And a lot of my leaders are empaths. Okay. A lot of you are empaths and you have that ability, which is another reason why you have the ability to lead others because you can see both sides. So keep that in mind. And then also be authentic. Be authentic. Be true to yourself. Being authentic is also being purposeful. When you're authentic, then you can live out your purpose. When you're not authentic, then you're keeping yourself from your purpose. Okay. And then part of your authenticity is leadership. So step into it. Do not run from it. Also, a sense of purpose. You need to have a sense of purpose. You need to have a why. Why? A lot of people wonder, like, what is my agenda when it comes to why I do the content that I do and things like that. And I always think about my younger self. I think about who I needed when I was like 11. I think about who I needed, the type of person I needed to show up in my life when I was going through certain things, experiencing certain things at different ages. And that's my reason. Like, that's my sense of purpose. It's not to want to control people. It's not wanting to just lead people, just to lead people, just to be on like some power trip. It's truly showing up as the version of myself, or as a version of myself where my 11-year-old, 12-year-old, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19-year-old, hell, younger 20-year-old self needed, not wanted. That's another thing. Not wanted, needed, because even at those younger ages, I was very immature. So when I look back over my younger years, I think about like, what did I need? And that's how I show up. Okay. So that's my sense of purpose. It's very real to me. It's why I talk about a lot of the things that I talk about. And it's why I'm passionate about the things that I talk about. Also, have a great sense of humor. You got to know when to be lighthearted. You can't be heavy all the time when it comes to leadership like you do. Don't let people play with you though. You know what I mean? Because people will try to play with you, but you try to key with them, and the next thing you know, they playing in your face. Have boundaries. Have that level of listen. Okay, like I could key with you, but don't play with me at the same time. I really think it's all about how you assert yourself, how you can like key with people. Because I used to be the type of person too, and this hurt me in leadership, and it was part of the reason it was kind of keeping me from leadership, because people didn't take me serious. I'm a jokester, and I know a lot of people on the internet are like, what? Y'all, I'm a fool, okay? I am goofy as hell. My family knows this. My best friend knows this. But do you not understand, when you are goofy all the time, when you're funny all the time, when you're a good time, people do not take you serious. They don't. So I had to mature more. I had to learn, okay, we can joke about this. We could joke about this, but we got to also know when to be taken serious, when to take ourselves seriously, and when not to be too immature to the point where people are not taking you serious, or where you're being too goofy to the point where people are not taking you serious. Okay. And really, I've learned over the years that it's really a time and a place. It's a time and a place, time and a place, time and a place. A lot of you notice the difference if you follow me on different platforms. Like my main channel, because I'm giving my opinions, that's really not the place to be too funny, like too goofy, too, because I'm talking about some serious things. But at times it's okay, because some of the things can be very heavy, and you do need a little humor in there to digest it, because you don't want just things to just be super heavy all the time to the point where it's causing your viewers depression and putting them in a dark place. And I've seen that with some content creators. It's like constantly drilling them with heavy topics all the time. And then even when you present it, it's heavy, and we're not even able to take it somewhat lightheartedly. It just makes it even heavier, and it could put your viewers in a bad place. So again, with leading people, are you putting people in a bad place when it comes to your leadership, or do you know how to take things lightheartedly, or to laugh at certain things when it's appropriate? Because I believe that that's important. Humor is all about the right place, right time type thing. Okay. um But right time, right place, right? Like, you'll see me on TikTok and I'll be joking with y'all over there, or you'll see me joke on my Instagram handles. You'll see me joke on there. But on my main YouTube page, that's where I'm more stern, because of the things that I'm talking about and the things that I'm saying. So it's all about creating that balance, right place, right time, but also know who you're around, and know when you should take certain things serious, and when you can be lighthearted about it. But humor is important, y'all. Humor is healing, okay? Humor is healing. And if you're leading people, and depending on what you're leading people for, humor can be very healing, and it can help those that may be going through a hard time, and you don't know what people are going through. So you being funny with them, even as a leader, like you joking with them, even as a leader, it can help them in some type of way. It could make they day better. It could put them in a better mood. And again, that's going back to the very top one where it says have great positive energy. Like, that's important. Okay. Is being a teacher a leader? Of course it is. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep, yep, yep. Yep, it is. Okay, so let's get into some things that kept me from running from leadership. Okay, y'all. Let me see. Hold on, is it this one? I have my folder here. Let's go here because leadership is not social media. Leadership could be you managing people at your job. It just depends. Or you managing people, maybe you're an entrepreneur, maybe you have a business. Eh, leadership is extracurricular activities, like maybe you have a little sports team or something like that, or you have a book club or something like that. It could also be you starting a group like a book club, or you're starting like a group where you're trying to get a group of people and maybe you gather them to socialize more and things like that. Maybe create some associates, maybe create a resource, a community or something like that. It's not always just social media. I'm just using my life as an example, but apply it where it makes sense. So I'm going to bring some other people on here and they're going to talk about some things regarding leadership from a different point of view.
Managing people is 100% a higher spiritual activity than doing the job yourself. I realized this during my first year of leadership. It forced me to become more disciplined around my spirituality and my practices, meditation, and all those things that goes into self-alignment and aligning yourself with source. Because when you are a leader managing people, you are dealing with so many different energies, and you really have to be able to connect with God and with source to get you through a lot of the difficult times. It takes a higher spirit to come in and to help and guide you. You are responsible for people, households, their way of living, their families. You're responsible for making sure that they are successful in their roles, career growth and personal growth. You're working through conflict resolutions, behavioral issues. And that's why it takes such a higher spiritual level, because you really have to use the energy of spirit, of God, of your inner self to be able to do these things on a day-to-day basis so that it doesn't deplete you. If you are a new leader or if you've been in leadership for a while, let me know in the comments if you can relate.
Okay. So the reason why I wanted to use that as an example is because being a leader, it's huge responsibility. And I don't think I was ever in denial about that because I've been running from leadership since I was a child. I played on, I don't know how many different sports teams. And a lot of the sports teams that I played on, like, people really wanted me to step up and be the quote unquote leader, but I didn't want to. My parents wanted me to be in that leadership role because they saw the potential, but I didn't want to. And it was because I didn't want to take on the responsibility. I had social anxiety, so that was definitely keeping me from leadership. I didn't want to be the quote unquote center of attention, to be this quote unquote leader, because when you're a leader, people automatically are looking towards you. And I didn't want anyone looking to me. Like, I liked being the wallflower. So it would mean that I would have to step outside of my comfort zone of being the wallflower where everyone just ignores that of my existence, to now somewhat being the center of attention because people are looking to you to lead them. And that was something that I ran from. And it was because I had this fear of being seen. And so a lot of people are very shocked by this, but y'all, it's more shocking for those who knew me before social media, those who grew up with me, those who knew me from like college, those who knew me from high school, those who knew me when I played AAU basketball. I'm pretty sure they're just looking like, the I would have never thought like she would be doing this. Like, it's because that's how serious it was. I was so cool with just being in the background, just being just in the background. I was just so cool with that. So me taking on the role of leadership was something that I did not want to do. I had been running from it for so long, but when I started to develop more in my spiritual journey, it got to a point where I couldn't run from it anymore. When you have a calling over your life, you have to answer the call. You can't just be like, all right, God, like, this was cool. Like, I love this. Like, thank you for getting me to this point. But yeah, like I'm not doing the whole leadership thing. I'm cool on that. Like it's not like that. So when I got to a certain level in my spiritual journey, I could not run anymore. I had to face it. And then I had to confront, well, why was I running from leadership to begin with? And then I figured out why I was running from leadership. So let's get into why I was truly running from leadership. I was afraid of failure. I was afraid of success. And I know that sounds crazy. I was afraid of being seen. I was afraid to take on adversity, aka challenges, in front of an audience. Like, come on, like seriously. Um, I was afraid that if something went wrong, then I would be the one to blame. And that stems from my childhood trauma because adultification for us young Black girls is so real. We have to grow up faster. And so I already had to go through that. Like when I was a child, I was always the one that was in charge because I was reliable, I was dependable, which is why the leadership thing has been chasing me since I was a child because I was reliable, I was dependable. And so a lot of times I was kind of pushed into that leadership role, but when then I had to deal with being blamed for things because I was supposed to be the one that was the most responsible. Also, I don't like conflict. I don't even at first when I was going through all of this, I didn't even know how to be confrontational. I knew how to be avoidant, but I did not know how to be confrontational. So when you're avoidant and you're trying to lead people, because conflict is gonna come, that's just part of dealing with people, their personalities, their lifestyles, their, how they act and things like that. So conflict was another reason why I was really running from leadership. And then also, um, I didn't want to do this is the biggest one. I didn't want to do the difficult thing. I didn't want to do the difficult thing. I did not want to if it meant I had to do the difficult thing to be the leader, I don't want to do it. I'm good. Like this is too much. Like I don't want to do the difficult thing. So these were all the things that kept me from really stepping into leadership. Being judged is part of me being seen. I didn't want to be perceived either. So let's get into why I stepped into leadership. When did I truly step into leadership? I stepped into leadership in 2023. Now, I didn't just step into it. No, I eased into it. I did. And if you notice, I have became more spiritual because of it. Now, what makes leadership, I won't say easy, what makes it easier on us as we like transition into it is when you can rely on a higher power or a higher source. When you step into leadership, when you step into leadership and you're just simply relying on yourself, that's some scary shit. Like I gotta be honest with you. Like that's some scary ass shit. So when it clicked that, oh, wait a minute, I can step into leadership and rely on God. I can step into leadership and rely on my ancestors. I can step into leadership and rely on my angels. Angels, ancestors, y'all, it's the same thing to me. I can step into leadership and rely on divine source, divine mother. Like, oh, why did I not think of that? But again, it took me getting to a certain spiritual level within myself. And so, with me stepping into leadership, I even became more spiritual because I started to rely less on myself and more on my guidance. And so, it came with a level of trust. Trusting myself, trusting my inner voice, trusting my inner guidance. And this made me stepping into leadership more comfortable. Now, it's still out of my comfort zone, but it just made the transition easier for me. Whereas before, I'm thinking I'm in this alone and you want me to lead these people. And it's like, I don't even know what I'm doing. Like, what am I doing with myself? Like, I feel like I look so ridiculous. But when I reached this level of spiritual growth, I was like, oh, I'm not doing this alone. Like, I'm actually being led while leading others. So, like, I'll be fine. So, that helped me step into leadership. It was 2023 to be exact. And I have been running from leadership for so long because I was afraid of leadership because I thought you had to be perfect. I thought you had to know it all. And I thought that I just had such a ridiculous outlook on leadership. And it's what kept me from stepping into it. Okay. Now, the reason why I believe I was chosen for leadership is because I am dependable. I have integrity. I also believe in the better good of everyone, like not just myself. Like if it doesn't make sense for us, then it doesn't make sense for me. Like I'm really big on that. And then also another reason that I think I was picked for leadership is because it's not something that I wanted. You know you would make a good leader when it's not something that you want. You know you would make a good leader when you fear it. Because most people who want leadership, they want it for the wrong reasons. Most people who want leadership, they tend to want it because they want to control others or have a level of power over others. And those who really don't want it are the ones that truly should be out here leading people. Because if you were to be placed in the leadership role, which is why I'm having this I'm doing this daily bread live right now, is because we need you. Like we do as a collective. Like, do you not see the world and the corruption? All the wrong people are in leadership for real. Like all the wrong people. They're selfish. They're self-centered. They only think about themselves. They don't have any humility at all. They don't even, some of them don't even know how to be influenced from their life experiences in a healthy way to help others. You know what they do? They avoid that the shit ever happened, and then they separate themselves as if it never happened to them, and then they go and become the very people that did them or may have put them in the same situation or experience. And so that's what I'm saying. It's like they don't have any empathy at all. They don't have it. And so typically I find, I'm not saying in all cases, because there's going to be exceptions to what I'm saying. Always there's going to be exceptions to what I'm saying. But I've seen that in a lot of cases, just based off of my experience, it's always the ones that are hungry for leadership that tend to just want it for the wrong reasons and don't have any real empathy at all for other people in their situations and don't know how to see things from both sides to truly understand people in who they're leading or wanting to lead. And so oftentimes the people that they're leading are neglected, they're not nurtured, they're not really supported, they're not loved in the way that they really need to. And so it's people like you that really need to step into leadership because you're needed because you have the empathy, you have the care, and some of you even have the experiences that will lead you back to the compassion and the transparency. So you running from leadership is you abandoning your purpose, and it's you not being obedient to your calling as well. Because listen, I didn't want this. Like I'm gonna be honest with you, I am so cool with living a low-key life. Like I started social media so ignorantly. Like I started social media when I was 19 years old. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. And if you would have told me that, oh, by the way, if you start making YouTube videos in your room, escaping from your depression and suicidal thoughts, it's going to lead to you being this quote unquote leader. I'm going to tell you right now, where I was, that girl in that bedroom, she would have never showed up. Like I would have never recorded a YouTube video. You would not have gotten me to get in front of the camera. I stepped into leadership by accident. Okay, me getting into this whole, oh, I just want to do this. And no, this was all not on purpose. This was a scheme that Todd set up and didn't tell me what was going on. Like, this was not done on purpose. This was all by accident. And that's how I know it's more purposeful to me because this was not planned. Like, I wasn't looking for clout. I wasn't looking to go viral. Like, I was literally trying to escape my depression and my suicidal thoughts. And YouTube was just that outlet for me back in 2012. And I didn't even think nobody was really watching me like that. So I was just uploading stuff and it was just making me feel better. It was making me feel better. Then the next thing I know, it was turning into a community. And then the next thing I know, it like turned into this whole thing. And so it just 2023, it got to that point where it was like, okay, you can't run from this anymore. Because once I started getting followers online, I was just comfortable with the idea that I was just seen as an inspiration, not as a leader. Like I was just comfortable with just being seen as like, oh, okay, I'm just the girl that's just an inspiration. Like I was cool with that. Like I was like, okay, God, like I can do that. Like, okay. But then it got to a point in my spiritual journey where it was like, no, you are a leader and you need to stop running from this and you need to stop. I mean, you have all the tools within yourself to lead people. So let me tell you what also really pushed me into leadership. 2023, remember? 2023. It was after the whole movement of the femininity thing. It was the uh femininity get a man thing. And the reason why I really stepped into leadership was I reflected over how I lost myself in that movement because I was listening to other people. And I lost myself because femininity, it never was about men for me. It was really about myself. And femininity, the reason why I needed to become more feminine wasn't because of a man. I needed to become more feminine because I needed to learn how to nurture myself. I didn't know how to do that. Like, I didn't know how to look after myself from a nurturing way. I knew how to survive. I knew how to tie up them boots, girl. We gonna keep going. But I didn't know how to really like nurture myself. I did not know how to self-regulate my emotions. I didn't even know how to regulate just my thoughts. Like I didn't know how to do that. So I had gotten caught up in that whole femininity thing, and it was taking me away from myself. It was taking me away from my calling, my purpose. It was taking me away from my authenticity. It was taking me away from everything that made me who I am. And so after that experience, I decided that I will never allow someone else to lead me when I am capable of leading myself. Okay? Never. And then if, like, say I was to get married or something like that, right? Or I was to be in a relationship, the only way I could relinquish that leadership to someone else, they would have to see the value in me. And I can't assume that because somebody is quote unquote interested in me sees my value. Like that's just not enough. I have to know they see my value, they see my worth in order to relinquish that level of leadership to them, you know? And then also they need to be spiritually connected because I'm spiritually connected too. And that's another thing too. It's like if you're out here giving this, or you're relinquishing this leadership to someone like a man or a boyfriend or something like that, but they're not connected, but you are, and before you met them, you were on your spiritual journey, you were being guided, and like you had no issues, but then you get with them and it's like all of a sudden you having all these issues. It's because you just disconnected yourself from source. You connected yourself to man, and this man is not connected, and so now you're no longer connected. You're no longer connected at all. You are disconnected. So you got to be careful with that. And so the femininity movement, that's what it showed me. Like I was like, oh shoot. And it was because you know how there's nothing wrong with femininity, y'all. That's femininity is not the issue. It's social media. People are very extreme. And so when you listen to them sometimes, they tend to have like the most extreme take. And so if you're the type of person like how I am, and you take on all of what they say, because I don't know if they call it neurodivergent, or like you're just the type of person where you just, if someone's being straight up with me, I'm gonna just take it straight up. You know, like I'm not gonna be like, oh, I mean, I'm gonna take a little bit of it, I guess. No, I'm the type of person, I'm like, well, if they said it like that, they meant it. It's extreme sometimes. Like some of the stuff that you get from social media is very extreme. And so when you're young and you're taking on everything that they're saying and you're taking it on step by step, it could be misleading you and it could be misguiding you, and not in a good way. So you have to be careful with that, okay? You have to be careful with that. And that was one thing that taught me that, you know what, I'm not going to just give my leadership away. Not everyone has it. Now everyone has the gift of leadership. And again, back to true leaders have empathy. So if you're empathetic, like a lot of you have leadership qualities because you are able to see both sides. And when you're able to see both sides, you have foresight that other people do not have. So that means that you would be a great candidate for leadership, okay? So keep that in mind as well. Like some of you are questioning, like, oh, am I a leader? I'm a leader. Typically, if you are empathic, you would make a great leader. We need more empaths being leaders, less narcissists, okay? The ones that are just, and listen, we all have narcissism, but y'all know the ones I'm talking about. We all have narcissistic tendencies, but y'all know the ones that I'm really, really talking about, okay? Mm. Y'all know the ones I'm talking about. So just keep that in mind. But the femininity movement was what took me out of my authenticity, which took me away from my leadership, which took me away from my calling, which took me away from my purpose, which created confusion within myself because I was confused on who I am and what I should be. And if you're going through something like that, then it's time for you to step away from listening to all of these outside people and really hone in on yourself and listen to your voice. It's going to require you to trust yourself because, again, I was trusting others over myself. That's how I got in the situation. So I had to learn how to trust myself. And when you're a leader, you lead, you don't follow. So you have to trust yourself. All right. And if you're leaning on a higher power, if you're leaning on God, if you're leaning on your angels and your ancestors, then you can trust that inner voice. But it still requires you to trust yourself. So listen, you just going to have to take a step back, breathe. All right, don't overthink it. Trust in your guidance, your inner voice, and everything that comes with that. Trust your spiritual path too. Trust your spiritual path. Trust your spiritual journey. That's going to help you as well. Also, another thing that I was afraid to do too was the difficult thing. So the difficult thing could be um like not wanting to do what's popular, stepping out and doing something that's not popular, doing something that is not trendy, doing something that no one can really clout chase over because it's not popular. It's not trending. It's not going to pop up in your algorithm. So, doing the difficult thing. Now, me being over here on this channel is me somewhat doing the difficult thing because I know that it's going to it's going to be very low views. But I'm okay with that because it's like, well, technically that's how it started on my other channel, but I was still over there doing more trendy things. But this is less trendy, so that means that it's going to be difficult, especially if you're used to certain outcomes, you're used to seeing things a certain type of way, you're used to receiving uh I don't know, like maybe you're used to getting praise quicker, or you're used to getting positive responses, or you're used to getting more support when it comes to something else that you were doing, and now you're doing this. Like, you have to understand that you just have to trust the process. And sometimes you have to do the difficult things. Sometimes the difficult thing too is disciplining yourself. That's huge. Disciplining yourself is the number one thing that I see most people struggle with, which keeps them from leadership. And discipline is not always no. Like, sometimes it's yes. Like, sometimes you doing the difficult thing is telling yourself yes. Like, yeah, I need to go out to be seen. How else am I going to be able to advertise my business? Like, I need to go out to be seen. How else am I going to network? I need to go out and be seen so people know I'm alive. Like, so yeah, I need to go. Like, telling yourself yes, 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 instead of telling yourself no. So again, a lot of these things are going to connect to each other when I say it. So when I say discipline yourself is part of doing the difficult things, sometimes it means telling yourself yes. That also trickles down to, okay, I'm not limiting myself by fear. So that all of these things, if you play back and you listen to this again, like, you'll see that a lot of the things that I'm saying, they connect. All right. So keep that in mind. So sometimes you got to do the difficult thing, and it may be forcing yourself outside of your comfort zone. It may be you have to be consistent. Like, there's no more of this, oh, 1 minute I'm doing well, and I've been 2 weeks I'm good, 3 weeks I'm good, and then I fall off. Doing the difficult thing may be stopping you from fully stepping into leadership, but it may also be blocking you from your success. And so a lot of you don't want to step into leadership too, is because you fear success. And that was another reason that y'all, I'm a hot ass mess. Like, what can I say? So another reason that I did not want to step into leadership was I had this huge fear of success. But another reason I had this fear of success was when I started making good money, and I got to be honest with you, it scared the living shit out of me because I started seeing how much taxes you have to pay. I started seeing how I'm responsible for this, I'm responsible for that. And so that freaked me the hell out. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, you started making more money. Like, why are you not happy about it? It scared the shit out of me when you start making more money. And I mean, like, and I'm talking about from like an entrepreneur point of view, it will scare the shit out of you because you're like, shit. You know what started to kick in? My scarcity mindset, my poverty mindset too, because I grew up middle class and my parents did really decent for themselves. I'm not taking that away from them, but they still raised me to have a poverty mindset. Eat everything on your plate. Don't leave nothing else on your plate. Like it triggered me when I started to make more money. Like I was scared. And then it got to a point when I started like holding on the money real tight, like I was never gonna get it again. And then that wasn't healthy either. And then it got to a point where it's like, okay, let me spend a little bit. But then I was like, no, we can't spend too much. It was a mess. I didn't have balance. So I had to work out the kinks. And then I started limiting myself because I'm like, oh, if I get more success, that means I'm going to make more money. And then I'm going to have to do this and I'm going to have to do that. And I'm going to have to do this and this. It was becoming a mess. So some of you are fearing success because that if you were to really some of you are fearing leadership because that you will be successful and that it will bring on more responsibilities and that it will require you to be more responsible and just it will require you to deal with different challenges or more challenges. And I said this in my Patreon video that adversity creates balance in your life. It is the natural balance in your life. If you are on my Patreon, we've been talking about how to surrender, how to get in flow. I just uploaded 2 new videos. The first one was about you need to surrender in order for you to receive your blessings, in order for you to step into this new beginning that's coming March the 25th for my collective. You have to surrender. You have to get into the flow. Then after I made that video, then people were like, well, how do we do that? And so I created a guide. And in that guide, at the very end, I said, adversity creates balance. So you have to be able to accept the adversity that comes with your life, that comes with your leadership, that comes with your calling and your purpose. Adversity creates challenges, but it also creates balance, right? You can't think that, oh, life is just going to be good all the time and I'm not going to face any adversity, no challenges. Like life is just going to be good. That's not real. That's not true. So you fearing success is you not accepting the fact that life is going to come with adversity. Life is going to come with its challenges, but that is what creates the balance in your life. So you can be in flow, but you have to surrender. And surrendering means letting go of control and accepting the adversity that comes with your success. So there's no need in you fearing it. You just need to accept it. Now, what does it come with? It comes with challenges. Well, what are challenges? Challenges create growth in you. So it's a need. It's a need and you're avoiding it. So if you don't have the challenges, well, how are you going to grow in life? If you don't have the challenges and you don't have the growth in life, well, that means you're going to be stuck and stagnant in life, right? So, with me limiting myself when it comes to leadership and how much money I'm making, like I don't want too much success because I don't want to pay too much in taxes. You know what it was doing? It was creating stagnancy. Then I realized, girl, you are self-sabotaging. People be like, what is doing the work? This is what it is. This is what it is. And you have to be real with yourself. A lot of people think real talk with Yoni is me keeping it real to keep it real with y'all. And it's like, hell no, girl, it's me keeping it real with myself. I'm just bold enough to share it with you. So this is what it means to do the shadow work. Do you see how everything connects? It like connects to the next thing and then it connects to the next thing and it connects to the next thing. So you are fearing success because it's not the success that you fear. It's the challenges that come with success that you fear. It's the adversity that you will have to face. And then you not trusting yourself because you don't think that you're ready for the challenges that come with your success. But it's like, how else do you think you're going to get the success if you don't deal with the challenges? And then the challenges typically prepare you for the success. So embrace the challenge. And that's going to keep you in flow. Because like I said, a lot of people think because on we grew up on the happily ever afters, we think that that's real. It's not. It's not. Have you ever seen those movies where everybody happy but it's like fake happy? It's not even real happiness? Cuz that's not real. That's not natural. That is fake and it's very phony. Have you ever been around them people? They be phony happy, phony just everything about them just phony as hell. It's because they act like everything good all the time. And it's like it's so phony because it's not real. It's not real at all. So you have to understand that in life, natural flow is adversity. Like you just have to accept that there's always going to be challenges. It don't matter, like at every level that you reach in life, there's just going to be challenges. But if you have, it might be real, but I'm saying when it's always nothing but happiness and that's not real. That's phony. That's somebody putting on a front. And it could be because they're competing with you. There are times where people are genuinely happy. But you got to also understand too, because people who genuinely are happy, it doesn't mean that they don't have adversity in their life. It just means that they tend to take on the adversity with a smile. I do it all the time. Whenever I'm facing adversity right now. I'm pretty jolly and it's not fake. But the fakeness that I'm talking about are the people who take on like they tend to put on this persona that they're happy all the time as if they're not dealing with adversity at all. Adversity is always going to be a thing. It could be something as simple as you lost a job. It could be something as simple as maybe it's not a job loss, but maybe I don't know, like you have to deal with I don't like homeowner issues or you got to deal with car issues. It's not always somebody died or you going broke or something like or you fake flexing for the internet. That's not what I'm talking about. Adversity is the natural flow of life. There are people out here that really think it is an inconvenience for your car to break down. What do you mean? Like that's expected to happen. Or it's an inconvenience that something needs to be fixed in your home. What do you mean? Like that's going to happen. I'm talking about like people who try to make it seem like when they are experiencing things that may be slightly difficult, like their car breaking down, them getting a flat tire, it's the end of the world. It's not the end of the world. It's just the natural flow of life and knowing how to take on those experiences, those challenges with an optimistic mindset instead of a pessimistic mindset where you think, oh, my life is over with. I just got a flat tire. Like, like, ain't that something? And then it could be adversity like, oh, okay, like maybe you've been late a few times this week going into work. And so you got a flat tire and you're like, oh, this is the last thing that I need. Like I've been late. My manager has been on me. My boss has been on me for being late. And now I get a flat tire. That's what I'm talking about. Adversity, right? That type of adversity. So it's not always, I know social media likes to focus on, I don't know. Like social media is not a real place. It's not a real place for me. It's a real place, but it's not. Like real things happen on here, but like it's not a real place where it consistently happens. I don't know how to explain it, but it's not that real to me. But like sometimes life is just like simple like that. Like you've been late 3 times this week at work and then you get a flat tire on Friday and it's a Friday and your boss is probably like, oh, she late again and on Friday. Like, you know what I mean? Like it could be something so simple. And so maybe you still take on that with an optimistic mindset instead of pessimistic. Or maybe you go into work, you scroll into work, and your boss is like calling you into the office, and you like, oh shit. And instead of you allowing that to ruin your day, you're like, you know what? I'm gonna make today better. You know what? Just to make up for me being late, I'm gonna stay 15 minutes later. Something like that. Like everyone goes through things. That's my point. And it may be something as simple as you coming in late a few times out of the week, your boss getting on you about it, calling you into the office, having a conversation about it, talking about or threatening that they may write you up about it. You know what I mean? And so you take that on and still not allow it to like ruin your weekend because it's Friday, stuff like that. That's what I'm referring to. Something as simple as that. Could be adversity. But then when we talk about success, though, it could be on a greater scale. It could be on a greater scale. It just depends on the situation. So let's create nuance when it comes to this conversation, because that is important. All of my conversations, we have to leave room for that. Also, another thing too is when it comes to leadership, a lot of times we like to focus on the negative things and we don't know how to focus on, like, well, what's positive that could come from all of this. And one thing that I like to focus on is the freedom. Freedom comes with leadership. It could be subconsciously, but it could also be like physically, like your lived experience. Like, you being in leadership could also be a form of liberation for you. So instead of you wanting to be led, when you're capable of leading others, okay? Because honestly, if you allow other people to lead you, it could lead you away from your freedom. It could lead you away from your liberation. Because sometimes when we're led by others, we're misled, we're misguided. And so it could take you away from your purpose. But you leading yourself, because you're truly capable of leading yourself, it could lead you to your liberation. Okay? That's huge. So think about it like that. Think about the freedom that comes with you being a leader. All right? Then also, I talked earlier about blame, like some of us not wanting to accept leadership because we don't want to deal with blame. We don't want to deal with the responsibility. But understand that when it comes to blame and when it comes to responsibility, look at it from a point of view of, this is my well-being. Instead of looking at it from, oh, blame, like whenever you deal with criticism and things like that, some criticism is truly negative, but then some criticism is constructive and it could lead you to your well being. So don't be afraid of taking on those responsibilities or dealing with blame. Think about, like, okay, is this person giving me constructive criticism? And if they are, is it truly for my well being? Is it going to help me elevate? Think about it from that point of view instead of just blame. I'm being blamed for this, or I'm being blamed for that. Um, that was part of my childhood. Like when I was responsible, like when my parents would work in the summertime, I would be watching other people's kids. I'd be watching my parents' two boys, and then I would be like the responsible one. And so if anything broke or if anything went wrong, I was to blame. I was to blame, and I hated that. And so that was another reason why I ran from leadership. It had a lot to do with my childhood trauma as well. Now, also, a lot of you are afraid of failure, and you need to look at it as an opportunity to learn. Okay, failure is just an opportunity to learn. It's an opportunity to learn. You being afraid of failure, which is making you afraid of leadership, is keeping you from your abundance. It's keeping you from your happiness. It is. It is. It's keeping you from your abundance. It's keeping you from your happiness. That is what it's doing. And as soon as you get over this fear thing and you really start to step into your leadership, you will see. Now, I still have a lot of growing to do after stepping into this leadership role. I just want to make that very clear. I do not know it all. I'm just telling y'all what I've learned so far. But I have been so blessed since stepping into this leadership role. Like, I can honestly say it's been such a blessing. I've been able to grow in this position just by listening to other people. Honestly, like, that's why I'm really big on listening to other people. Like, I don't want to be that type of leader where I don't listen to people, because I just think that's crazy. But honestly, like, being in this leadership role and being a listener, it has helped me with my own personal growth because I'm listening to the people that I'm leading. So keep that in mind as well. You can learn through others. You can be this quote unquote leader, but you can still learn from those that you're leading. So always keep that in mind. All right. Let me see. Also, this could be a part of your destiny. So, like, another thing, and yes, I believe in destinies. Yes, I'm one of those people. I believe in destinies. I believe in fate. I don't believe that things just happen and it's just a coincidence and that's it. Like, no, I believe in destinies. I believe in fate. And some of you are running from leadership and it's truly keeping you from your destiny. This is your fate. This was ordained to happen. This was something that you were supposed to do. You were picked, you were chosen, you were selected. So you need to step up to the plate and fulfill this. It will come with abundance. That's like you should know that. But you can't allow your fear to get in the way of you fulfilling your destiny. You can't allow it to get in the way of you fulfilling your calling and your purpose in life, okay? But a lot of us like to focus on the negatives when it comes to success and leadership because of our trauma and our past experiences. But when it comes to leadership, if you're willing to learn and grow in the space of leadership, like you're not just this leader and you don't learn nothing new, like no, you step into leadership, you're still open to learning and growing. Um, it could offer you victory, it could offer you success in your life, and you don't want to run from them. Okay, like you do not want to run from that. And like I said, if you ever feel weird about stepping fully into leadership, you are not trusting your journey. You're not trusting your walk. And so that made it easier. Like, and yes, with since 2023, I think a lot of you have noticed how I've became way more outwardly spiritual. It can be seen, and it's because I've truly decided to surrender, release control, get in flow. And now that I'm more in flow, I am trusting I'm trusting my journey, but I'm also leaning on a higher power. I'm leaning on God. I'm leaning on my angels. I'm leaning on my ancestors more. So I'm going to be outwardly more spiritual because of that. Okay? Now, I'm open to taking questions because I know some of you had questions. I'm open to taking some questions. Let me see. What time is it? I don't even have my phone. I don't even know where my phone is at. I do not know where my phone is. I wanted to see what time is it? It's 1:45. Okay, so I have if you want to ask some questions, I can answer some questions. I have like 15 more minutes. Let me know. Thank you. That is so sweet. Thank you. Okay, Nick, that is or Nick. We'll have to check that out. Yeah, like if you have any questions, oh, we have it 11 likes. That's extra confirmation. Thank you, Sydney. That is so sweet. By the way, I think I just made my decision about how I wanted to move forward with my mentoring. A lot of y'all may be upset, but I'm going to offer my mentorship to my Patreon members and my Discord members only. I am. And the reason is because I've decided to make this decision because I don't want to, like, sometimes I'll be feeling like I mentor with y'all one time and then I don't see you again. And I want to be connected to y'all. So I'm like, you gotta be. I'm gonna make it to where you have to be a Patreon member or a Discord member for me to mentor with y'all because then I can keep track of your growth through my Discord for sure, and you'll be well supported too. Like I want you to be well supported, and it's like I don't want us to connect and then I lose you. Like I don't like that. So I'm gonna make it only for memberships, Patreon members only, which will also allow people that I'm connecting with on a routinely basis to talk to me. So that's huge. Hopefully you don't take offense to it, but it just makes more sense because I felt like a lot of the girls that I connected with, I didn't get to connect with them that much because I was getting booked up pretty fast. So I'm only gonna make it available to Patreon members only. Okay. Yeah, like I want to be able to see people more than twice a year if I can. Like it's been like that. It's been crazy. So I'm hoping like that will help. Okay, okay. Hold on, hold on. Wait a minute. Let me go up to the top. Okay. Okay, so 1 minute. Okay, Asha said 1 minute. And Asha, I know this is about to be weird, but I had the craziest dream about you. Like you popped up in my dream I want to say a few nights ago. And in the dream, I hugged you and said that everything is going to be all right. You need to relax. That you're taking on a lot of things emotionally right now, and you are, and I never had a mentee pop up in my dream, but you popped up. I don't know. I feel like you may be going through something heavy right now. I think it's because you have a lot on your shoulders, and you need somebody to tell you that it's gonna be all right. Like, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. Okay. So I needed to tell you that. Also, one minute I'm in a glow, and then I'm not being. Some days, like, I be ignoring through it, like how I stay in flow all the time. Well, first of all, you have to give yourself grace. I just did a video on my Patreon where a lot of people struggle with flow because they don't give themselves grace. Now, grace isn't, a lot of people think grace is it's like not being accountable, that, or you are not holding yourself accountable, and it's like that's not what grace is. Grace is when it's especially when you give it to yourself. It's self-nurturing, like you are giving yourself the room to be vulnerable. Like, a lot of people don't understand, like, that's what grace is. Grace, especially when you're giving it to yourself, is like allowing yourself the space to truly be vulnerable with yourself. But if you feel like you got to be strong, even when it's just you, like, you're not facing the world, you're not facing people, like, it's me, myself, and I, and you still feel the need to, like, be guarded. That's when you know that you're not allowing yourself to truly be in flow and surrender. Okay. So you could be struggling with this, like, one minute you're in flow, and maybe ooh, you know what it is. I think I know what it is now, especially with the dream that I had. I really think it's because when things are going well, you're fine. You're in flow. And then when things happen, like adversity or challenges come, then it takes you out of flow because you're being triggered and you want to gain control of the situation. It's like, oh no, it's kind of like, I don't know, like, you could be free falling out of the sky, or you could be doing like some type of activity that involves you, like, letting go of control, and then as soon as you let go and you start to get scared, then you want to grab something to try to gain back control, to try to, like, I don't know. It's something like that. And I think that's what it could be for you. Okay. So give yourself grace. Grace is allowing yourself to self nurture yourself. And the reason why I've been talking more about surrender and flow is because that's true femininity. Okay. That's true, 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 true femininity. So keep that in mind. And maybe you need more of that. Maybe I've been telling my collective on Patreon and Discord, like, start implementing more water into your spiritual practices. Start taking spiritual baths. Go to the ocean, go to the river, go to the stream. Don't be afraid to go out, get some rainwater. Some of y'all still got some snow, and start using that in your spiritual practices. Start You can get moon, you can create moon water, sun water, drink more water, create cucumber water, lemon water, okra water, watermelon water. Just hydrate yourself. Like, this can help you get into the flow. Okay. Make sure you're truly hydrating yourself. Okay. That can help as well. How long did it take you to feel like you totally surrendered? Um, Honestly, this is gonna sound so crazy. When I really stopped giving a fuck, y'all, like, I started noticing, like, I just stopped giving a fuck about a lot of stuff. Like, first of all, I started noticing where I don't feel the need to prove myself. That's number one. Mm-mm. I don't feel the need to prove myself. I don't feel the need to clear up my name. I just don't be feeling the need to do anything. Like, honestly, I don't feel the need to do things out of insecurities, out of being triggered. Like, that's when I started noticing I fully surrendered, was because just a lot of stuff I used to carry on my back, or on my shoulders and things. Like, I just stopped caring. It took a lot of weight off my shoulders, seriously. Um and it really, around the time that I started stepping into my villain era, really was another time where everything was kind of coming together for me, like villain era, surrendering, flow, allowing divine order to kind of take place in my life. It kind of all just kind of happened all at the same time. I was triggered. by the friendship breakup was kind of really what brought it on. And then like everything kind of just fell into place afterwards. But it took me doing the work emotionally on myself to really have everything come together, because your billionaire can turn really dark. I just got to be honest with you. And I think I talked about this. I think this is on my Patreon as well. How be careful with your villain error. It is necessary. It is necessary because you need to learn how to be confrontational and stand up for yourself. But it can get really dark if you don't work on the emotions that come with you needing or feeling the need to step into your villain era. So just make sure you're always balancing things out, because whenever you think of balance, harmony, flow, you have to think of like sun, moon, morning, night. Uh, you have to think of yin, yang. You have to think black, white. Like everything has to be balanced. If it's not, then you're gonna be out of alignment. So you don't want your villain area to get too dark, because then it's gonna take you out of alignment. So always like be self-aware enough to know, all right, I need to chill out. Need to chill out. I think I proved my point here. Like it was kind of like that. It was kind of like that. Like, girl, relax. Like, I think you proved it, because I'm an Aries. I could take the shit too far. Like, I could take it to hell and back and hell and go back to hell again and do it again and like I'm one of those type of people. Because especially if I don't know about y'all, but I'm the type of person, it takes me forever to really get angry. But when I'm there, oh, I'm there and I could be there for the rest of my life. It's like one of those type of people. So or one of those type of things. So it's like I gotta like chill, girl. Like you you need to chill. That's why I don't know why people be trying to take it there with me, because once we go there, we are there and we're gonna be there for a while. So I'm one of those type of people. Let's see. Oh, that's crazy. V, that is so crazy. I've gotten this so much where people have had dreams about me and then they ended up joining my Patreon. That is so crazy. Also, if you do join my Patreon, when you join at the very top, it says new members. Just click on that. It'll give you a whole guide on how to get started. Okay. So keep that in mind. Okay, so Asha, that resonated. I think that's why you popped up in my dream, honestly. Everybody been talking to me, and when I say everybody keep been talking to me, I'm talking about God been talking to me, ancestors. Some of y'all's ancestors been talking. Everybody been in my damn ear to the point where you popped up in a dream. So I really think that that's what that is about. And I got a heavy energy when I had your dream, when I had a dream about you, because it has to do with things emotionally. And my collective, I gotta be real with y'all. Y'all the baby thugs that I be talking about. Y'all are the baby thugs. You're very sensitive, but you have this armor that you have built around you, and people think you're very tough, and you probably are. Like, you are tough. I'm not here to say that you're not, but you are also sensitive too, and you tend to not show everybody that sensitive side that you naturally carry. And your sensitivity is what truly makes you intuitive too, because a lot of you are spiritually gifted. But y'all the baby thugs though too. Y'all baby thugs. I just got to be honest with you. Some of y'all are baby thugs, and yes, we know you can handle it. We know you got it. But you got to deal with the emotional side too. Okay? Um oh, thank you, Mandy. That is so sweet. So yes, we know you tough. We know you got it. We know you can handle it. But also, really, my collective, what God has been speaking to me, is saying, like, honestly, is that you need to create a vulnerable space within yourself. Like, you being hard with yourself, like being guarded with yourself, is what's blocking you from your blessings. Okay? Like, you can't be hard with yourself. You can be hard with these people out here in these streets. All right? Because I know, Asha, you live in New York. So be hard with the people outside, but to be hard within yourself is blocking you off. And when you are receiving, you have to be in the flow energetically. You want more money, you want to make more money. Well, you got to open up. You got to open up emotionally so it can flow into you, so you can receive it. That's what this is all about. Like, honestly, I'm preparing you for your blessings. I'm preparing you for the blessings that you've been asking for, that you've been doing your spiritual practices for, the vision boards. Like, I'm trying to get you to open up so you can receive it. But some of you are still closed off emotionally. Like, your energy is like this. And so when God is trying to send you those blessings, it's like, well, we can't get in. So you got to open up. You got to open up. That's what this is all about. That's what this is all about. Okay, Journey to Me said, how do you get out of isolation? I've been in my room and sleeping a lot. That sounds like depression. Okay. Now, two things. Is it seasonal depression? Seasonal depression is such a real thing. It's real for me. This year in Houston, I could honestly say like I kind of been more inside more this winter because it's been more cold. And last winter I was not all cooped up in the house like this. So I really think it has a lot to do with the weather. So it could be the weather, like you may be isolating yourself because of the weather. If you're sleeping a lot, though, this could also be maybe you're going through a healing phase where you're being called to rest more and sleep more. I think this is going to come down to you evaluating yourself and trying to see, like, what is it? Sometimes we confuse depression for healing because we're sleeping more or we're isolated. But sometimes isolation is crucial for healing. Okay. Like sometimes people go on the doctors or they go into the hospitals. Sometimes they're kept for weeks, months, depending on how severe it is to heal. Okay. So is it you healing? Is it depression? Is it you just need to rest more? Let's figure out what it could be. All right. Okay. Um listen, we protect ourselves. We're really big on protection. So listen, the only way that could be true is if you believe in it. You don't have to believe in it. Surrendering is so messy. One minute you feel good, next you're crashing out. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes it's like that. Um, when you become a villain, you get rid of people, a lot of people. Yeah, you kind of have to because you start to see people's true colors. Sometimes just make sure you balance it out though. Just make sure you're not removing people that are truly there for you. Okay. One toe in my villain ear. One toe. Listen, you may need to go ahead and just go step on in. Just step in completely. How do we know it's time to step out of isolation? Um, when there's nothing else for you really to work on. Like I think isolation is just supposed to be a phase. It's just supposed to be a season in your life where you're connecting with yourself. And as a projector, I don't know if you're a projector, I don't know what your human design is, but as projectors, we have to retreat in order to take care of ourselves. So just depends on what the isolation is for. It depends on if you're just isolating out of comfortability or if you're truly isolating because you need to give yourself that time to be away from people to take care of yourself or to recharge yourself. It just really depends. It can get dark, but people love to play and take advantage. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You just got to be careful. Again, balance. It takes a while to experience anger for me because I black out when I'm angry. Yep, this is me. But when I'm there, I'm there. I'm there. Um Okay, let's see. Do I have any other questions? Okay, this is a good one. Let me know if I missed somebody because I did kind of scroll a little bit. Uh, Tamika wanted to know, how did you change your ways? Like doing things opposite of who you naturally are, because how you naturally are isn't good for your growth. For example, I worry a lot. Again, back to doing the difficult thing. So a lot of the work that I did on myself is very mental. I hate social media sometimes because it only focuses on your outer appearance and it doesn't focus on all the things that I had to do up here to even have a better looking outer appearance. Like, let me be real. And so Tamika, like honestly, is doing the difficult thing. Like when you start to worry, talk yourself out of it. Like stop. Like we are not worrying and then you need to I'm big on always getting to the root because when you get to the root of something then you can fully stop it, but when you just kind of brush it off, like stop worrying, girl. Like why are you worrying? Like no, you need to you like why are you worrying? Like where is the worry? Why is the worry coming over? Why is it coming over you? And then like why then once you figure out the why then you need to address that. And you need to work on that, because then the worry will not be triggered again and again and again and again. So you got to start questioning things like, okay, I'm worried. Why am I worried? And then deal with that. Okay. And sometimes worry can be brought on, oh, I don't have enough, scarcity mindset. Let's work on that. You know what I mean? Like, it just really depends on why the worry came over you and how you can work on that. Okay, so Discord is different from Patreon just for the simple fact that you're able to be in community with other like-minded individuals that are on a similar journey to you. So like there's different rooms, different things may resonate with you on Discord compared to Patreon. It's candle work workshops, and then it's just like messages. It's just we just have a lot of like self-work things on there where I'm able to talk to you collectively. Okay, so it is slightly different. I would definitely join Discord because it's very helpful information in there and people are sharing a lot. I find that the people that share in Discord, I find like y'all be doing stuff for me too. Like I don't feel like it's just about me all the time, and that's another reason why I really like my community. Um I think I'm okay. So Journey to Me said, I think I'm very emotional, but I want to detach and be more assertive when it comes to a meeting when people aren't truly for me. Just tell them. That's what I be doing. Just tell them. I had to distance myself from a person from what I thought was going to be a friendship, because honestly, like it was becoming too much. Too much. It was becoming one of those situations where I felt like it was a lopsided relationship, and I'm like, "Oh my God, here I am creating friendships where I'm the one that's giving more." And I decided to distance myself completely once I realized I've been giving so much in this relationship. I haven't really been getting anything back. I've been getting dumped on the whole time, like dumped on when it comes to their problems, their trauma, and everything up under the sun. And I'm like, what have I been getting back in return? Nothing. So then I was like, okay, I have to separate myself. I communicated that, separated myself, and there was no real conflict or anything like that. It was someone just respecting my boundaries, honestly. So I remember on one of your Patreon lives, I asked you about protection through Archangel Michael, and I really thought about it. I ended up letting him go just to see how I practice protection. Okay, okay. How do you stop pushing your emotions? I don't know if you're asking a question here, or if that was just something that you wanted to tell me. How do you stop pushing your emotions away to be vulnerable in a healthy way? First, I think the question is why. I think in order for you to like how to stop doing something, you have to question, why are you doing it? So when vulnerability comes over, it's kind of like grief. Okay, it's very similar to grief. Grief is like when you could think of a scent, you could think of a memory, you could think of a time, you can think of an experience that you had with someone that you lost. And when the grief comes over, you don't allow yourself to grieve. You push it away because it's just too painful. Like you push the memory away. You push the scent away, or you don't even acknowledge that that's what came over you. Like you just push it away. And why? A lot of people push things away emotionally because it's hard to deal with. Like emotionally, it's hard to face. And so they push it away. When you create a vulnerable space, you're allowing yourself to feel how you feel in that moment instead of pushing whatever away so you don't have to feel at all. And in some cases, this means you're creating emotional withdrawal so that you don't have to feel or deal with whatever you're experiencing that requires you to be vulnerable within yourself emotionally. You just act like, oh, I don't, oh, because I used to be the type of person. And you're talking to the girl, when people used to hug me, I used to be like this. That's how people would hug me. I used to be, and they would come up and hug me, and my arms would be to my waist. And I'd be like, and then I also used to be the type of girl where somebody would cry and I'd be like, no, let's not do that. I'd be like, stop, don't cry. Cause I don't know what to do when people do that. Cause I'm not emotional. So like when I see somebody else cry, I'm like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. Like, what do I even say? My God, they're crying. And then like, oh my God, y'all, I used to be the type of person where somebody would cry and like I would just I would just choke up. Like when I mean choke up, like just become very awkward and just ooh, I would just feel I wouldn't know what to say. I wouldn't know what to do. And I would just be like, I really wanted to run. Because I used to be the type of person where I avoid emotions. So seeing someone else being emotional, it's like, I want to get out of here. Like I want to get out of here. So a lot of times, like when we avoid being vulnerable emotionally, we tend to avoid it altogether and we tend to withdraw emotionally so we don't have to deal with it. And so it's just like you gotta let yourself feel those things. So now I let myself cry. I don't stop myself from crying. I let myself feel. I don't numb myself. Like I don't go drink or I don't go have sex or I don't go smoke marijuana. I let myself feel it. I let myself cry. I let myself have that moment. Okay? And to the point where I've gotten so damn comfortable, I be crying in front of y'all cuz I never used to do that shit. Hell no. Like I never used to do that. I will say that vulnerability takes a level of confidence though too. Like it does. It takes a level of confidence to deal with your emotions in front of other people or to allow yourself to be emotional in front of people, but then also within yourself. It takes a level of confidence to just let yourself just let it out. Let it out. Okay? Um I don't know, but I'm just one of those. I used to be one of those people. I used to be so hard, y'all. I used to be so hard. Like I just got to be honest with you. That's why femininity for me was something that was necessary because that was a part of myself that I just neglected. And I didn't know how to nurture myself. I didn't know how to be vulnerable within myself. I didn't know how to be emotional. So I needed the femininity and I needed it in a way where it wasn't about a man. Like it really needed to be for myself. Okay. So I was just, I don't know. It's like after you've been traumatized, you just get to a point where you just don't feel nothing. You don't, because you've got to a point where you were traumatized and you were feeling things and that shit hurt, right? So then you just is like, oh, I'm just not gonna feel nothing at all. So that's part of how I had gotten to that point was I just stopped allowing myself to feel because anytime I did prior, it hurt really bad, right? So I'm just like, I'm gonna just numb myself. So that's how I ended up going down a very dark path of like pill popping, struggling with alcohol, struggling with I can't really say I ever struggled with sex. It just by the time I had sex, I was 27 years old, so I kind of like knew better, but also like getting into fights with people or like just being reactive. Oh my God, I used to be the type of person that would like hit the fist girl and want to argue you down to the ground. I would argue you for, I would debate you for at least 2 hours. And I just remember, like, I can still remember how tired I used to get, how drained I used to be. Like, I used to get so drained, but I felt good because my ego felt good. It was my ego. But girl, like, we would debate, I would argue you down. Mm, I was one of them people. But now I don't even do all of that. Like, honestly, it don't be worth it half the time. So yeah, that's how I ended up getting into that phase in my life of struggling with bad habits and addictions and things was because I didn't want to feel. I was avoiding dealing with those emotions and then I felt like I was opening myself up to pain or being hurt. And so like that's why I would literally run from being open emotionally. I just did not want to feel that pain. And so, typically this is what you see in men. But some of us women struggle with this too. Typically you see this more it's more likely to be seen in men, but some of us women struggle with it too. So I struggle with it for the longest. I think another reason too I struggled with it so much was because I was around boys a lot, and like that's just how they used to deal with things, and so that didn't help being in an all boys home. So yeah, just be careful. So I answered all of your questions. That's pretty much all that I have regarding this first episode of Daily Bread. Let me know if there's any other topics that you want me to cover on Daily Bread, and we'll have that discussion. I hope this helps those that are running from leadership. I hope it helps those that are also having fear of success, like you're not afraid of leadership, you're afraid of the success that comes with leadership. And I also want to remind you that your success is part of it is leadership. So in order for you to get the success, you have to take on the leadership. You can't have the success without leadership. You can't have the success without being seen. That's just how it is for some of us, and you have to accept all of what comes with your success and not just the parts that you like. So that's huge. That's pretty much all that I have for this video. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Asha. Like I said, girl, it's gonna be all right. It's gonna be okay. And I'll see you in my next one.